Okay, this is KD7QKU. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Hey, Bob's giving me a thumbs up, so I guess he hears me.
Good evening, everybody. This is Bob, K9PQ. And let's see. So, whoops, headphones. I always forget. So Thursday, I went up to drop off um, my uh, earnest money. I could have overnighted it, but I wanted to take a little trip up, and I'm glad I did. I saw um, they had a nice little crafts market down in the town in Oak Harbor, and they have a beautiful big park right on the water, right downtown, right at the very heart of downtown. Real big area set aside for a park and a long beach. It's just really nice. I also went out to Fort Eby State Park and James Whidbey. I think it's James Whidbey is whoever it was. The Whidbey. They've got a littler park. It's still a nice park, but they've got a little park named after him. It's a state park as well. Um, and there are quite a few more parks around there. Seem to be quite a few state parks on the island, including, of course, Deception Pass. Which, when I looked that up, I found not really surprised, but I found that it's the most visited, most used state park in the state. Um, Ron and I stayed there years ago, right after I got my trailer, and we were, not hearing me. Somebody's not hearing me. Um, I think, okay, I'm going to send it back. I don't know what's going on. K9PQ, back to net. Oh, it's okay. I guess you guys are hearing me. I'll send it back anyway. I think maybe James has to check what's going on with his. Um, yeah. So anyway, just had a great time. It was a beautiful sunny day, and that's good for starters. I'll send it back. K9PQ.
Do we have any audio coming through? I guess not. Do we have any audio coming through? I guess not. Do we have any? Okay, I guess I'm going to do the echo trick here and use both 2 meters and OBS. Both 2 meters and... This is James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue. Well, Seahawks and a good meal, Ron. Hey, how can you beat that? That sounds like a good combination. Bob, unfortunately, I didn't hear anything you said. But let's see. Richard, I'm glad to hear you're out with your favorite avocation, is it? Or is it a hobby? I'm not sure which. But being out there with sports cars, yes, it was toasty today. It was pretty hot here, too. But I did get out in the early evening and did a 4-hill walk, and it was only about 83 degrees out, free air temperature, and it was cloudy a little bit. So I guess that worked. So anyway, I guess we're in for another, 3 days of kind of hot weather here. So make sure you get those plants watered and stay in the shade. Richard, that is a very good suggestion. Interesting that they have cool suits. I'm wondering how that affects the weight allowances on the cars, because it would seem to me you'd either need some sort of an air conditioner system on the car or a lot of cold water. I'm wondering which they use or if you know anything about that. Moving heat around is always fun. This is James, WU7N, at 13 minutes past the hour with the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. I'm going to turn it back to Dave, our net control. Go ahead, Dave.
WU7N, thanks for that, and get a quick ID here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. Again, I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Well, here in Lake City tonight, it's 79 degrees and cloudy out. But boy, I had a miserable time last night. I was watching TV and watching a movie, and I had some caramel popcorn. I was reminiscent of the days of Cracker Jacks. So I immersed myself into that, and oh my gosh, talk about indigestion throughout the night. I just couldn't clean it out, and it even lasted up through this morning. I did take some antacid, and that seemed to help. But outside of that, from about 1 o'clock on this afternoon, I seemed to be okay. Missed a little sleep because I was up a lot. But, oh my, that was something else. Well, I did get a bunch of things done around the house, and I'm looking out the window now, and I'm seeing a beautiful sunset that's coming in. Nice red sky. So the sun setting is at this point during the net, and being able to visualize that out my window. And for Ron, watching Seahawks, and Bob, oh, wow. Oak Harbor is a beautiful place. Be able to find the public park and all the amenities that are there. And Richard for the car races, that's fantastic. So anyway, that's what's happening here. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. And let's see if we can pull in Mario, KD6ILO.
Yeah, hello Dave, and the rest of the night. I hope you guys can hear me. Have a pretty good day. We, the team and I, are putting together our crew set for the next launch in 2026. And also, I try to get my system run more better with the laser between Cloud Valley and Oceanside. I hope everybody's doing okay, Mitch, and everyone else. I let it go from here.
KD6ILO, thanks for the visuals. That was a very interesting device that you had, stacking up many circuit boards. We'll find out a little bit later what that's all about. So in the meantime, let's move up to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay. This part.
KD7QKU, not hearing you on 2 meters.
Okay, well,
Peter, I don't know if you guys are hearing me or not. So I was telling Bob, or telling you guys that park there, kind of downtown harbor, I stayed there with the motorhome. I don't know if we just dry camped. I don't know. I just don't remember, but I know at least one time for sure that we stayed there. So let's see. You know, my son has a big BMW motorcycle. And he says he's going to take a ride around the United States, and he's going to leave, I don't know, middle of September, something like that. And so he went down to Portland. He went down on Thursday to visit his aunt. She has a van camper. Oh man, it does everything. It's a fantastic camper. I have no idea how much she paid for it, but it runs itself. I mean, you can be sitting there, and if the batteries need to be charged, the motor will start. It'll charge it. If the air conditioner needs to come on, it'll come on. I mean, it just does everything by itself. It has, comfort control or whatever. She sets the temperature, and it keeps the temperature day and night. Well, anyway, she's been all over the United States, and so she's been a lot of places that my son Mike wants to go on his motorcycle. So he came home this morning, and he texted me, and he said when he was going down, he was running about 75 on I-5 headed south, and he was in the center lane, and there were some trucks in the right lane. And as he approached the truck to pass it, the trailer tire blew out. And he said, oh my gollies, it was a terrible explosion, and it blew pieces of tire and rubber and everything all over him. And dirt came off underneath the truck, and he said it could have killed him, But he said he didn't suffer any damage, and it didn't damage the motorcycle, but he said sure scared him. He said never expected that to happen, but it sure did. So anyway, that's about all I got now, so I'll pass it back to Net, KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, thanks for that. And get a quick ID here. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, let's go to Bob, K9PQ in Bothell.
Ron, you're still on. Okay. All right. Well, good evening again. I'm hearing 2 meters now, so I think Wade may have fixed that. I texted out, and he replied that he couldn't fix it right away, but he would, and I think he's done that now. So thank you, Wade, if you're hearing this. Um, yeah, and Ron, your video both times was frozen. I didn't really catch anything on your first turn, and the second time, I only started hearing you after you started transmitting on 2 meters. So I don't know how it came out over the repeater, but for me on the streaming output, it was frozen. Um, let's see, popcorn. Yes, I when coincidentally when I was in Oak Harbor and I went to the little crafts fair, some guy was selling actual kettle cooked popcorn. Not like you get in the store, but that he cooked himself in a big kettle. And so I decided, well, I'll buy the big bag. It's only $2 more. I'll buy the big bag. Well, that was a mistake. I ate way too much kettle cooked popcorn and had a very similar experience to you, Dave. Um, let's see. Yeah, and James, looks like maybe James. I'm not seeing. Well, if you're hearing this, James, usually when you're doing your audio, we do hear it. And oftentimes you say there's no audio. You just got to remember there's a delay before you're going to see anything. So, or before we see it and can reply back, giving you a thumbs up in Discord. Um, so yeah, unfortunately, I missed a good chunk of the net, but I heard about the Richard going to see the racing, and that's really cool. I'm glad you're getting back into that again, Richard. I'm really happy that you're doing well enough to go do that again. That's fantastic. Yeah, I just don't have a whole lot going on. Still no showings, still just waiting for that lease to happen, and I don't know what to think, and also I'm preparing to move out because I got to move out here very soon. So, that's kind of where I am these days. And I'm staying cool anyway. I've got a very nice portable air conditioner, which I think I may have mentioned this before when I first got it. They made a big improvement over the old air conditioners, the ones that sit on the floor, portable ones that sit on the floor. Instead of just a single pipe sending the hot air out the window and then it sucks in the cool air from inside the house, and that now you're sucking in warm air through all the cracks and crevices and you know vents and things like that back into the house again. It has an intake, so it's got a one hose inside a bigger hose, and the bigger hose is the intake, and the outer hose is the hot air, and it blows it out hard enough that it doesn't just come right back in the intake again. So um, the nice thing about that is all the cool air stays inside and all the hot air stays outside, and it's not trying to suck it in from the outside to come in. It works really, really well. Um, and I also this time thought to turn it on before it got hot. And so it's kept the place perfectly cool. I have many times waited until it's getting pretty uncomfortably hot, and then it would take forever to actually cool the house down. But now I started it when the house was cool, and it's staying cool, so it's fantastic. Okay, I will send it back. K9PQ.
K9PQ, thanks for that. And again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. Again, I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, let's go pick up Richard again, K7ITX.
Okay, well, good. Yeah, I've heard everybody so far.
Okay, well, good.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
and I hear myself.
So far. Okay, well, good. Oh, geez. And I hear myself.
Yeah, so evidently I'm coming over streaming, and so that's pretty cool, even though I'm just talking on my phone. What do you think of that? So anyway, you guys gave me a couple. I got a couple things on my to-do list now. Yeah, James, I'd kind of like to know how that cool suit works. You know, is there a pump is it gravity fed? I know they feed it. I know they cram it full of ice. There's some kind of reservoir somewhere in the car that they put ice in. So I'll look into that. I'd like to know more about that. And not only that, I'd like to know more about the car itself. It's a BMW, but you know, how many cylinders? Is it a 4, 6? Is it a 325i, 525i? Clearly, it's a modified street car with a roll cage and all that into a racing car, and it goes fast. I mean, like I say, he took first place. The RX-7 in a different class all by itself, about 1,300 pounds lighter, and rotary engine. It was first overall, but the BMW that we were hanging out with today got first in the classification for what I would like to call B sedan, so to speak. If that's correct for me to say that, I'm not sure. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to another day of it tomorrow, and then 2 weeks after that, heading to Portland with my favorite, the Datsun 69 Datsun 510. That's vintage for sure, and I expect us to take or be very competitive as usual when we go down for that. And so evidently I didn't miss much of a Seahawks game, so I'm not too worried about that. It's, you know, preseason. I have a hard time getting very excited. In fact, sometimes I find it boring. So, and I didn't even know they were playing. And let's see, last time I checked, the Mariners were down 1-0, but I don't know. Let's see if I can. How quick can I bring that up without? Oh, here we go. No, it's tied 1-1, bottom of the 7th. So what do you know? Another nail biter, just like last night. Got down to 3-2, top of the 9th, and bases loaded, and we struck them out and won the game. K7 ITX, back to net control.
K7 ITX, thanks for that. Let's move on down to James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue.
Okay, I'm going to try something here. I'm going to see if when I simulcast on OBS, I'm also transmitting on 446.55, which is the 441.55 repeater. I noticed when I was listening to Richard, he was going along, and suddenly the 441 repeater, it suddenly died, and so I have my programming on my my UHF radio. I just jumped up to the next channel, and I don't think I missed very much. But so I'm going to pause for a second, look at Discord, and say, "Can you guys hear me?" Oh, and I see I'm the king of echo tonight. So let me do this. I'm going to go. Okay, now I'm transmitting on OBS and I'm on 2 meters at the same time. Bob is still shaking his head no. Oh, that's that much of a delay. Am I echoing, Bob? Echoing? Yes, I am echoing. Okay, well, so I'm not sure how to get rid of that. Oh, no, I'm not echoing. All right, well, anyway, I enjoyed testing the systems to their fullest. Let's see. Revenge of the Caramel Corn. Okay, so we have to start a new subgroup here in the Western Washington Amateur Television Society who is overdosed on caramel corn. So we have K9PQ and then our net control. I guess I'll have to look up a good recipe for caramel corn. Okay, so, well, anyway, Mario, I want to say thank you very much for the circuit board video. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but that was cool watching it, and I'm obviously very curious to know more about it, what it does. And Bob, piping the heat. So they've got one tube with a smaller tube inside. That the smaller tube inside blows the heat out, and then the bigger tube that's concentric sucks air in from outside and cools it and blows it into the room. Now that is an interesting design. They must have quite a filtration system somewhere on there for the air they're sucking in from outside. Because like in LA, on a bad day when it's hot, you can cut the atmosphere with a knife, maybe scoop little piles of atmosphere like with an ice cream scooper right out of the air. The smog is so thick. So I'm wondering how they manage that. So you can tell us if you found the secret filter compartment yet. Oh, I'm echoing badly on the 2 meter side. So I'm going to try, just before I sign off here for my round, I'm going to try and kill. Okay, so apparently when I'm on OBS, on that digital stream, oh, this is funny. I just tried to touch screen my PC. So I guess, well, when I'm on audio. So anyway, I've got the volume turned down on 2 meters, not transmitting on 2 meters, and I'm using OBS right now as my primary audio input. And everything else should be muted. So I'm not sure if that's working or not. But anyway, I'm going to turn it back to net control. This is James, WU7N, and I'm killing OBS. Yes.
WU7N. You actually make Echolink come alive for its real meaning of Echolink. Anyway, it was an interesting audio transmissions that you had combined with what was going on. And this is Dave, KD7ZYM, and get a quick ID here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. Well, I don't know, I've been watching the last 3 football games with the Seahawks, and primarily it's a shakedown for the new recruits, the newbies, to see how well they are. They have to cut down I think it's 54 players by this Wednesday, and so it's giving everybody a chance to see how well they dance on the field, so to speak. And I think there was a few good plays today for some of the newbies that might have scored them some points, but overall the game was not one of the best performance games the Seahawks have done, but individually, I think there was a lot to be learned from that. So that's a pretty interesting thing to see. During the game, I had to succumb to have some barbecued spare ribs, so that sort of passed the afternoon away with a little spare ribs and watching football. It was a nice combination for me. I enjoyed that very much. So now, let's see if we can pick up Mario again. KD6ILO. Mario, KD6ILO.
Yeah, Dave, and the rest of that. Well, This is a CubeSat. We are assembling our third CubeSat, OCR3. This is the tree I use testing. It has a telemetry and control unit and the navigation system for the CubeSat. My section is the optical image section, but this is the control section. Also, we are putting together the propulsion section, which will keep it in orbit. So every time it senses that the CubeSat is drifting, it will pop out, prepare it, and put it in the right orbit to keep it there. So I sped up the video so that you wouldn't be too bored. But it's very strenuous putting it together. Each board has to be tested before we put it together. So we'll build one more before the end of summer 2026, and it will be launched aboard a space as cargo diving. Hopefully, everything will be good at our first two CubeSats. So this is what it is. Back to the official Dave and James. I made 50 years as an aviator. This month, 50 years. I have 15,000 hours in 40 different aircraft, from Cessna, Beechcraft, Gulfstream, and Army aircraft as well. Back to the Nathan Show.
Thank you, Mario, for showing us the satellite transmitter. Thank you, Mario, for showing. I would have thought it would occupy more space, but boy, you've really got it compact down, so makes it very interesting. And let's move back up to Ron, KD7QKU. KD7QKU, your picture is freezing up.
I guess that means you can't hear me either, so I'll pick up the microphone. It's 71 degrees out here now. I didn't say that, but I will. I just looked at the thermometer. So Thursday night we went over to Toby Jones and watched another concert. It was a lady singer with a band backing her up and sung mostly, in Spanish. I think I might as well turn off my transmitter. I'm not getting in very well tonight. So that was good. Good entertainment. It was a nice warm evening. And then I said, and I don't know if you guys heard me or not, that some of the college football games started today. I enjoyed college football. So I watched, let's see, who did I watch? Was it Ohio State and Kansas State, I think. That was a pretty good game, neck and neck. So anyway, and then like I said, we went out to dinner last night at Friends and had barbecued steak. So Eli was there. That's Joanne's niece's son. He works at at SeaTac. He does baggage, and then he drives a little jitney and tows airplanes around and stuff. He does all kind of stuff out there. He happens to be working tonight, it looks like. But anyway, he buys and sells car pickups, mostly S10 pickups and Chevy Blazers and stuff. He gets them. He gets some wrecked ones, and then he takes the transmissions and engines out, and sometimes the interiors, and puts them in other ones. I don't know. He's always got something going, and he sells them. And he was telling me the other day, he sold this kid this S10 pickup for $3,000, and it wouldn't. The kid called him and said it wouldn't run, and he wanted to get rid of it. And so Eli said, "Well, I'll give you $600 for it." And the kid said, "Okay, come and get it." So he sold it for $3,000, bought it back for $600, brought it home, and the only thing wrong with it was the battery. And so he replaced the battery, turned right around and sold it to somebody else for $2,800. So Doug had this 2005 Chevy van, white van, that he used in his cabinet shop. A real nice van. And he had texted me the other day and said, "How do I sell it?" I gave him some suggestions, but then I also said, "I think you ought to talk to your I guess it would be his grandson, your grandson Eli." And so they did. They texted Eli. He was working at the airport, and he said, "Oh yeah, no, I'll sell it for your grandpa." So that was on Thursday night, I think. And then when I saw him Friday night, Eli already had it sold, and he got $6,000 for it. So I looked it up on Blue Book, and it ranged in price from $5,000 to $8,000. So he got $6,000 cash for it. So everybody was happy, and he did it in one day. Amazing kid. KD7QKU, back to that.
KD7QKU, thanks for that. And time for another ID. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Let's pick up Bob, K9PQ in Bothell.
Okay, well, hello again, everybody. I am going to try something here. Whoops, got to get to the right place. There we are. Here is a picture of me from Thursday at the downtown park in Oak Harbor. This is the first time I've tried to do a desktop through OBS, so I'm happy. Every time I try to do something new on OBS, I'm surprised how easy it is. I'm very, very impressed with this tool. So yeah, that's half of the beach. That's roughly half of the beach that you're seeing behind me. I walked down a bit down the beach so where I entered was a few hundred yards behind me in the picture, and walked down to this point, and there's at least as much still left on the other side. It's a big park. It looks like it's been newly renovated, and I didn't see any kind of RV spots. I'm going to look the next time. I'll see if I can find out more about that. But I'm thinking maybe after they renovated, they took that away, because I didn't see anything that looked like RV spots. The motorcycle with the truck tire blowing up, man, that I've had that on my mind, as a motorcyclist many times. And the reason it started for me was when it was actually a trucker talking about the truck tires blowing up, and he said, well, somebody asked him, well, how much of a danger is it really? And he said, well, I always roll the windows up when I go buy a truck just in case in my car. So that gives you an idea. The AC unit, yeah, I didn't describe that very well. The outside air never comes inside. The inside air never goes outside. So you have two complete independent systems. The outside air comes in and through the surrounding bigger pipe, goes out through, exits back out again through the hot air exhaust pipe. So that's its own thing. And then the inside air comes in from the inside, gets cooled and gets expelled out into the inside. So it's actually much better than the ones I had before. The ones I had before, for the outside, it only expelled the hot air. So for that, to replace that, it had to suck more air in from the inside, and then you get air, hot air coming in as you have to replace that air that got sucked in. Anyway, I hope that made it better and not worse, that explanation. But yeah, it's really, really a good design, and requires less filtering. You did remind me, though, I should take a look at the filter, because you should clean those things every so often. Let's see if I can bring one more picture up here. This is I think this was from Fort Erie State Park. And this is something I always like seeing. The waters to the left, the Straits of Juan de Fuca are to the left. I'm kind of they're to the west, of course, and I'm kind of looking north. So the breeze coming off the water is coming from the left toward the right, and that's why you get that shape on the trees. I was told once that it was not so much because of the wind blowing the trees that way, but it's the salt in the air, the salt mist in the air that is harmful to the tree, and so it's naturally growing away from that. I don't even know if that's true, but that's what I heard. Let's see if I have any other pictures I can show here. Oh yeah, I just thought this was kind of a clever sign for people that are walking dogs out on the beach. So that is part of Skagit Conservation. A whole bunch of places are sponsoring that, but I thought that was a pretty clever sign. Let's see, was there anything else? Oh yeah, this thing. So I've seen these three-wheelers before. They have two in the front and one in the back. And there's a Canadian company that seems to be very successful that has been making them for a while. This was in Oregon, and it's electric. And it's really cool. It was really well liked, but they didn't have a good business plan, and they went out of business. But it's kind of hard to see from here, but you see the windshield, and it's got a glass roof over the top. It's got roll bars in it. It goes up to like 70 miles an hour. And let me do the next picture where you can see it. Actually, this is optional. It has car doors, and it has, I believe, I'm not sure if it has windows that roll up. I don't think it does, but it's got basically car doors on the side. So it has two seats, one in front and one in back. And you can see the locking storage space. Also, that's an option. So this guy who bought this, he got the deluxe package, which was probably in the low 20s, $20,000, $23,000, something like that is my guess, based on the base price and then guessing what all these extras would cost. And but since they've gone out of business, they said that people are looking for any leftover spare parts. People in the auto industry would know it's called new old stock. They're looking for new old stock to see. So because they know there are not going to be any more of these made, and they want to make sure that they've got replacements if they need it. Okay, I think that's good for now. I will send it back. This is K9PQ. Let me switch the video over. There we are. That's me. And
K9PQ, thanks with that. Let's pick up Richard, K7ITX.
Well, it wouldn't be right unless I mentioned me and Debbie's.
Well, it wouldn't be right.
Oh gosh, here, let me turn that off for a second. Anyway, hearing myself blasting over OBS, evidently, the repeater. So anyway, it wouldn't be right unless I mentioned Debbie and I are, I'm not sure the correct verbiage, but how about me and Debbie's 49th wedding anniversary? We celebrated it at Salty's Restaurant on Thursday afternoon, about 2:30, and we had a window seat for 4. We invited our business associate couple and hobbyist Scott and Susie. Susie and Debbie do the bookkeeping. Me and Scott do the monkeying around and playing, and so we had a really, really, really nice seafood dinner. We had Dungeness crab legs on ice. I had blackened salmon. Debbie had, I think, crusted halibut, baked halibut. I can't remember what the others had. I think we all had clam chowder. It was just, and then you just can't beat the view. The Seattle skyline, and of course the salmon were jumping out of the water. So it was, and it wasn't quite this hot. It was just a nice, pleasant mid 70s, upper 70s, and we were inside, but it was, you just couldn't ask for a nicer anniversary dinner. So what we're going to do on our 50th, well, that remains to be seen. You have to tune in next year. K7ITX, back to net control, and I'm going to say 73 because I'm sure it won't get back to me.
W7ITL, thanks with that. Well, let's move on to James, WU7N.
Okay, well, I am going to see if just using OBS, if I come over. Okay, I do come over on 2 meters. Interesting phenomenon, 441.55. Apparently, when that repeater times out, it doesn't pick you back up again like ours does. Like the 2 meter repeater, there'll be like a second and a half dropout or something. And I think Carlos did manage that magic in software somehow. So anyone listening on 441.55, it looks like the 147.08 machine is a better choice to listen to the Western Washington Amateur Television Society at this time, although I did successfully transmit it earlier on in the net. Once again, Mario, thank you very much for the video. That's very interesting to see that. And congrats on all those air hours that you have. That is amazing. A lot of different aircraft and a lot of hours there. So congratulations on that. Let's see. Happy anniversary to Richard and Debbie. Fantastic. No better way to celebrate an anniversary than a good meal. I'm glad that worked out well. Let's see. Well, the next few days are going to be pretty hot, so I've decided to try and make best use of the sun and the heat. I have a bunch of containers that I'm going to wash. They're like plastic storage containers, and one foot locker that was given to me years and years ago that I need to either give away or get into service, and so I'm going to pressure wash it and put it out in the sun, let it bake in the sun all day, and get rid of any critters inside it there. I think that's what tomorrow's project is going to be. Well, I see we have 5 minutes to the net left, so let me turn it back to Dave, our net control for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. My name is James, and I am in Northeast Bellevue. My call is Whiskey Uniform 7 November. Anyone listening, the WWATS has this net 8 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesdays and on Saturdays. You can listen to us on the repeater or use your favorite search engine, look up Western Washington Amateur Television Society, and you can go to our streaming site on QSL.net. Anyway, this is James, WU7N. Let me turn it back to Dave, our net control. Stop.
WU7N, thanks with that. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. And for ID, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. Boy, looking at Bob's three-wheeled motorcycle reminded me very much of the 1960s. There was a device called Isetta. It was a Japanese three-wheeler that was on the market, and you entered it by opening the front end of the device and then get inside and set in and then close the door down on you. I was able in its early invention debut, you might say, in Spokane. I got to try it on a hot day, and boy, talk about the greenhouse effect. It was like I think at least 20 degrees warmer inside than it was outside, but that was kind of neat. And that whole design came out of the Messerschmitt factory from Germany. Believe it or not, that's where the Japanese got the idea to do that, since Germany wasn't producing Messerschmitt aircraft anymore after the war. So it was kind of interesting to see that. But boy, that one certainly seemed good with the two doors on the side, so you could enter it like a conventional car instead of had to climb through a hatch on the front end. So that's about it. This is Dave, KD7ZYM, and I'm going to move it on. Well, wait a minute. I got one more thing I got to say. Richard, congratulations on being married that long. I didn't succeed with that, so anyway, you did very well in accomplishing that. I only did about half of that. So let's move on, see if we can pick up Mario again. KD6ILO. KD6ILO.
Yeah, they won't keep you interested. But see you guys program Wednesday. So thank you and happy anniversary to you. And thanks for sharing the news.
Three, 1, 5, 9, 4, 2, 9. Disconnected.
Well, thank you for joining us, Mario. It's always interesting to see what you have to add and contribute to the net. Very fine electronics that you produce. And for an idea, again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. So I need to terminate the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net at this point. Thank you for all attending the net this evening. Be looking forward to you Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave, KD7ZYM, terminating the net at 9 o'clock. Good evening, all.